guys? It is Monday, Make Ahead Monday as I like to call it, or Homemade Monday as it's turning into. Last week was our first Monday and we started off making our homemade crème de cocoa, crème de cacao, and it's literally just however much cocoa nibs you want, covered in as much vodka as you can cover it, and then you let it sit for a week or two. So to start my recipe today, I have to strain it because I have to use it for this. We are going to be making Kay Drennan famous Baileys. Now, the way I'm doing it is, can you see? I'm gonna first, I just wanted to show you because those who joined last week, this is our crème de cocoa. It's now ready. So I'm going to pour it through a mesh strainer. You can use a coffee filter, whatever you have. I'm gonna put it in a prettier jar, but for now I'm just gonna use this. Let me put those back in there. Alrighty, that's all I have to do with that. And then I'm just gonna pour it in a smaller jar so I can measure it out easier. For today's homemade Baileys, which this first recipe I have, hi Margie, I have 3 ways of making it. The first is my girlfriend Kay Solera. She's been making this, I think I've had it like 26 years ago, and everyone loves it when she brings it around. We all love it. So that's the first way we're gonna do it, and that includes 3 eggs. The next way I'm going to talk about, because I'm not gonna make 3 big batches of Baileys because I don't have enough people here to drink them. The next way would be eggless, and it would be with a vanilla extract and instant coffee, and then finally we're gonna do keto. And when I make homemade Kahlua in a couple of days, I'm also going to be doing it 3 ways. Let's see who else. Okay, so let's just get started. We are going to use 3 whole eggs, and we're gonna blend them first. Now, they say if you're using raw eggs, you should, hi Amy, how are you? If you're using raw eggs, you should use pasteurized. Quite frankly, I don't know if my eggs are pasteurized tonight. If I get sick, maybe I won't be on tomorrow. But we are just gonna quickly blend them. 3 whole eggs, egg whites and everything. That's it, 5 seconds. Hi Amy, we're making homemade Baileys tonight. And the first way I'm doing it is my girlfriend Kay's recipe, just to catch you up. All right, so into the 3 whole eggs, we will then add 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. Now, I know some people are like, geez, you can get homemade Baileys. I mean, you can get Baileys in the store. It's not that expensive. And then there's also like Carol Ann's is an Irish cream, or Dugan's, like Degnan, is an Irish cream, and it's half the price of Baileys. There's also, Baileys came out in 1974, and since then they've added, I think it was 2 years ago, Baileys added Almond, like almond, and that's a keto approved whiskey, that Irish cream whiskey that they made, but I'm gonna show you how to make it for even cheaper. And then there's also, of course, you can make Baileys with white cream de cocoa, which I don't know how to make because it calls for cocoa butter. And the only cocoa butter you can really get is the cosmetic kind, and I don't trust myself using cocoa butter. Cosmetics, I'm a mixologist, I'm not a makeup artist, and I would be afraid of using that, so I'm not gonna go the white cocoa route for any of my cocktails. If I make something with white cream de cocoa, I'm gonna purchase it, and we just got to get all of this in. Believe it or not, I couldn't get my can opener to get the top off. All right, so that's most of it. Okay, so 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. I have to wash my hands because that stuff is sticky and sweet and so delicious. When I used to own a bubble tea shop a couple years ago, we used our sweetened condensed milk for Thai tea, and we used it for the taro, and it's just great. It makes a great base for a cream drink. Okay, now we're gonna do 1 cup of Irish whiskey. You can use rye whiskey. Jameson is the preferred. I didn't get a chance to run to the liquor store, so I'm going to use my proper 12 that I was going to use yesterday. I know, 2 whiskey drinks in a row, but I have to make this today because there's 2 recipes for my cocktails in the next week that call for Bailey's, and I'm not going to go out and buy it if I can make it homemade. All right, so 1 cup or more if you like, but the recipe calls for 1. And then 1 cup of heavy cream. So I researched that because I always tend to buy heavy whipping cream, and the difference is heavy whipping cream has 30% of the fat, and heavy cream, so heavy whipping cream is 30% or more, and heavy cream is 36% or more. You won't taste a difference. There might be a slight texture if you go with the whipping cream instead of the heavy cream. For the keto one, you're supposed to technically use the heavy cream because keto, you want the most fat as possible. But for some reason, I like to use heavy whipping cream. I always have in all of my drinks. And the other thing, even when soup recipes or cocktail recipes, sometimes I use half and half. So the second recipe, I'm using the half and half in. So there you go. So it starts heavy cream is the fattest, the most fat, then heavy whipping cream, then half and half, and then of course milk. All right, so 1 cup of that as well. Now we go to our chocolate syrup, and I did a little research on this too. It actually took me 3 trips around the damn supermarket to find it because they had regular Hershey syrups by the ice cream. They had Hershey syrup and other kinds by the ice cream cones, and then this was down a condiment aisle. This is the Hershey Simply 5, which I think if you need to buy chocolate syrup, if you don't have one like You Bet or by Fox or Hershey syrup in your fridge or pantry, try to get something that has no high fructose corn syrup. It's just a better thing, and this is non-GMO as well. And no, they don't pay me for any of these recommendations, but the most high fructose you can keep out of your diet doesn't have anything to do with watching your weight. It's just high fructose corn syrup and GMO products are not healthy. So when you have the option, it's maybe 30, 50 cents more. I highly recommend going the extra and getting that. And now for this one, this is really not a vegan one at all. We're going, because we've got the eggs, now we're gonna do another tablespoon, but this time of honey. So you could see it's gonna be sweet, creamy, delicious. And unlike the orange cello that I made yesterday, and unlike the Kahlua that I'm gonna make, and the crème de cacao that I already made, the Bailey's is ready instantly. There's no waiting around. There's instant gratification, which we all like. Because you could see this really takes, if I wasn't talking and babbling, this would only take you like 5 minutes to whip up. So you can make it right before your company comes and it would be fresh, or you could let it sit. I think the one with the eggs, I would let it only sit about 3 days, and then of course just every time you take it out, give it a good swirl. If it's been a day or 2, then blend it. All right, and then the other thing is 2 ounces of my homemade crème de cacao. If you're looking for that on the files, it's November 30th, last Monday before I started counting days. It was the day before the countdown. So it was last Monday, the 30th, but basically, like I said, it's just equal parts, 1-to-1 ratio of cocoa nibs and vodka, enough to cover it. And just use a decent vodka. And that's it. So 2 ounces of that. Here's my little ounce. So I was absolutely floored, and I changed my recipe. I wasn't going to make this tonight. I was going to make it closer to Christmas. Christmas is 2.5 weeks away. Hanukkah is 4 days away. So the holidays are literally right around the corner. We kind of wasted this weekend and didn't do anything holiday-ish. Not that we really can with COVID. But we're running out of time, people. Only 2 more weekends to Christmas. All right, so we have everything. Not to scare you. I know everybody's got their tree up and they've decked their halls. But now's the time to start thinking about homemade gifts like the Kahlua, the Bailey's, and the orange cello I made yesterday. And now's the time to start planning your holiday menu because the stores were crazy. I actually went into ShopRite yesterday and walked out because it was just that nuts. So I went today in the middle of the afternoon when nobody was there. Okay, so 3 eggs, 1 cup of whiskey, 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. That's like a 14-ounce can. 1 cup of heavy cream, or heavy whipping cream like I like, 1 tablespoon of good chocolate syrup, 1 tablespoon of honey, and 2 ounces of cream de cocoa. Again, if you don't want to make the cream de cocoa and you can't find cocoa nibs, by all means, just get a little cheap cream de cocoa in the supermarket. And now we blend. Smells good. Smells chocolatey, Irishy, full of whiskey, all good things. Hi Patricia, how are you? I hope you can hear me over there. All right, and that is it. If you're gifting and you want to be very generous, get a nice big bottle like this. Or I think it's 1 liter, 1 liter. These were cheap. These were only $1.99 today at the market. I've gotten them at IKEA before, like a 12-pack of them. This is just a nice milk jug that I had from a nice organic milk. So this is what I'm going to store it in if I'm not gifting it and it's just for me. So for an easy pour, right now I'm just going to pour it into here. And of course, if you were making this for company, it would be best to make it like an hour before and then let it chill. Things are always better chilled, aren't they? All right, now, if you want to get fancy, you can get, I don't even know if these are gonna work. I bought these for the whiskey yesterday and I never used them, but they're the big square ice cubes. So you can use that if you want to get fancy with your, whoops, wait, always ahead of myself, always. All right, if you want to get fancy, put some, this is Hershey's 100% cocoa on a plate. You just need something, let me put a little heavy cream around the rim. There you go. And a little chocolate, dip it in. Just get a little fancy there. That cocoa goes everywhere, so be careful when you're working with it. All right, now take your square ice cubes. If you're not that chilled. And then, I mean, you could get really fancy if you want to serve it. Put some chocolate sauce in there. Oh. Okay, so slante. My Irish husband's gonna kill me if I don't say it right. Okay, thank you for the recipe, Kay. She texted it to me graciously. I was so happy because, of course, like everything else online, there's tons of recipes, but when you know you have a good one and you know it's worked for, I don't know if Kay's on, if she can tell us how many years, but I know I was drinking it before I was married for 25 years ago, so it has to, her recipe's probably 50 years old. Oh my God, it's so good. You don't even need to make, not a White Russian, what was I gonna say, a mudslide. It basically tastes like a mudslide in and of itself. It's not harsh Irish whiskey. Hold on, I just wanna get something. This is so good. I didn't want to make a mess of it. It is so good, I think, just served in a little glass. You don't need the chocolate sauce. It's perfect. Okay, so Susie's going to be drunk by dinner again. That's what I'm guessing. Let the holiday spirits reign, right? Okay, now I'm not going to make another batch, but I'd just like to talk about it for a second. The second way will be eggless, and it will be, let's see, no eggs, no honey, no cream de cocoa, but it will use instant coffee and vanilla extract. So we would still do 1 can of the sweetened condensed milk, but you would use more alcohol. 1.5 to 1 3/4 or 1 2/3 choice of alcohol, like I said. I don't know if we discussed that. Jameson is the preferred. Of course, you can use any Irish whiskey. I'm using proper 12, but people also use Cutty, Sark, or Chivas. I didn't know that. I found that out today when I was looking it up. For this second recipe, when I make it, I'm gonna try it with half and half instead of the heavy cream or the heavy whipping cream. And then it's more chocolate syrup. It's 2 tablespoons of the chocolate syrup. and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And try to get the real vanilla extract the best you can. The better the vanilla, the better the drink. And then it will have 1 teaspoon of instant coffee. Oh my goodness, I have to sneeze. I think it's the cocoa. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. You never know. So this was, we don't drink instant coffee in our house. This was a 2-ounce container, which is adorable just if you're going to use it for recipes like I did, and it's $1.29. So there, you know, you're really not buying a bunch of stuff that you don't already have in your house, because the condensed milk is $1.29. The alcohol you should already have, the half and half or heavy cream around the holidays. Everybody usually has chocolate syrup. So it's just the instant coffee you might not have. And like I said, you can pick that up for song. All right, so it's the same thing. You just blend it in a blender and keep it in a glass bottle. And this one keeps for up to 2 months. So if you're looking for a gift, or you're looking to make it now and you'll still have it at Christmas 2.5 weeks from now, ding ding, or Christmas Eve 2.5 weeks from now, that's the recipe you want to make ahead. And then for our keto friends, I developed a keto instant extract eggless whey. This recipe will only make 28 ounces, but it will call for 2 cups. So you're adding an additional cup of the cream, and then 1 cup of the alcohol. We go back to 1 cup, like the first recipe. And then it calls for keto powdered sugar, which is keto confectionery sugar. Swerve makes a confectioner sugar, Truvia makes one, and I believe Monk Fruit, Lacanto makes one. This is the granulated. I use it for simple syrup. The granulated won't dissolve in the correct way for a drinkable drink that's cold and not cooked. So the granules, don't use the granules when you're making it for a keto drink. You want to use the powdered, okay? This also makes vanilla frosting for our keto friends. All right, so the keto whey is, again, we add 1 extra cup of the heavy cream. And I would go with heavy cream. I wouldn't even go with heavy whipping cream. If you're keto, go with heavy cream only. And then I would add 1 cup of Jameson, 2/3 of a cup of powdered sugar, and then it adds, instead of Hershey syrup, or sorry, chocolate syrup, it adds 2 teaspoons of unsweetened cocoa powder. I found this one for $3.99 at TJ Maxx a while ago. You can use it in baking. You can use it for other things. So that's a good buy. And then, of course, it calls for instant coffee and pure vanilla extract, same teaspoons, and then the addition of almond. Maybe because for keto people, we're so used to almond milk and almond and everything. That's why they add the almond. But it does give it a nice taste. So they're all very similar. They're all easy to make, and they're all delicious. So slancha? Again, he'll kill me. And I highly recommend, this will get you into the holiday spirit. It's not a drink like a mudslide with frozen vanilla ice cream or anything. It's light. You can totally just have this while you're watching The Bachelorette or whatever floats your boat. And that's it. We'll see you tomorrow night. I hope you enjoyed the recipe.